I'm Elaine Swann, America's leading lifestyle and etiquette expert, and I welcome you to Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann. It's the podcast where etiquette meets real life and grace is always in style. You may have seen me on shows like The Today Show, Access Hollywood, or What the Fit with Kevin Hart. And now, I am here to help you navigate life with grace and style. In each episode, we'll dive into modern dilemmas, whether it's handling travel plans with friends, splitting the bill at dinner, or choosing the perfect host gift. I'm here to answer your real-life etiquette questions. So pour a cup of tea, relax, and let's go on this journey to becoming the best version of ourselves, one polite step at a time. Hey, we're back. Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann. I'm so glad you are just hanging right on in here with me, sending your questions in, trusting me to answer those questions. Producer Kelly, this is good, right? We're getting some good stuff.
Outstanding questions. Very, very good questions.
Yeah.
Questions that I would ask. It's a different world.
I know, and I was looking at some of the stuff, and some of them is juicy today. I mean, I feel like, there's a little soap opera stuff that's happening here, so this is good. We're going to figure this stuff out, though. So.
And some of them are just downright funky.
Yeah.
And appropriate to this Reddit question, I'm just burning to ask you.
Okay, let's go with this. Let's dive right into our Reddit question.
At my job, we have a gym that is free and accessible to all employees 24 hours a day. One of the employees in my office goes to the gym every day for roughly 1 hour. This employee works a normal hour day, but rather than going before work or right after, they choose to go an hour and a half after they get here and start their day. They do this in place of taking a lunch break. Okay. This would be fine if their position was at a desk somewhere you'd probably never notice their absence. Unfortunately, their position is the front desk, where they help people almost every day get clearance into the facility where I work. The majority of their tasks are not known to any of the other employees, understandably so. The issue is when this employee is gone from their desk and at the gym and someone comes to the window, the other employees are left scrambling, trying to assist the guests. Does the employee have the right to huff and have an attitude when they return and find employees scrambling and trying to assist the guests? I really want to take this issue up with our supervisor. How is this fair? And the really aggravating part, this person still does take a break near the end of the day. They leave their desk and walk outside, talk on their phones at a distance away from the office, probably 30 minutes, maybe longer if our supervisor is out. What should I do?
Oh, my goodness. So funny because while you were talking, I was over here choking, but I'm good now. But listen, okay, the short answer in terms of what to do in this particular instance, I write about this in my book, Let Crazy Be Crazy. And so the short answer is to use an authority figure. And what I mean by this is, yes, tell the supervisor, tell on them. Don't try to, muscle this person or get this particular person to do what they're supposed to do. Definitely tattletale and tell on the person and let the supervisor know what's going on. Clearly, the supervisor does not know what's going on because that's why this is still happening. So use an authority figure, the way I say in my book, Let Crazy Be Crazy. Now, the other part of this is the huff and puff that the person has, all right? I want you to know that person is deflecting. They are deflecting because they don't want you to check them about what they're doing. So they come in and they're in a huff, they're in a puff, they're tossing things around and wondering what you're doing, because they're trying to put their stuff on you. So do not receive that. Don't own their behavior. Instead, have the supervisor check their behavior. I want you to start to kind of keep a log of things as well, because here's the thing. Anytime somebody is confronted about something, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to lie or tell the truth, okay? So I want you to start to document everything, okay? So on Tuesday, the person came late. They stayed out there. They was on their phone for 30 minutes, whatever it is. So you begin to document that so that this way there's a record that you have been keeping in terms of the amount of time that this person has been doing this, all right? So don't try to police an individual like this. Somebody who's deflecting, if you try to approach that person and get them to correct anything, they're going to put it all back on you. And they clearly do this in the way they handle themselves when they come back and they see people clearly trying to help at the desk. So don't even try to do that. Let the supervisor help. And in addition to that, document it so that when you bring it up, you will have record of what's going on. And I don't want you to feel as though you are being, underhanded or a tattletale or what have you. But clearly the way this person is working, it's impacting everyone else at the office. They're having to, you all are having to fill in for this person while they're doing whatever the heck it is they're doing and so forth. And it's just not fair and it's not right. But the individuals who are supposed to handle this is the employer, the supervisor, the manager, what have you, and not you. So don't take this person's junk and put it on you. Instead, tell on them. Be a tattletale in this moment, okay? All right, well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. And once we come back, we're going to get into your questions that you sent in. So we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann, where I am answering your etiquette questions that you have sent to me. And I love it, love it, love it. So we just finished our Reddit question, but we're going to go into our deep dive with producer Kelly because we're curating your questions and I'm so happy to answer them. And you all have some issues, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We're working it out. We're working it out together. And so I'm just so happy to help. So producer Kelly, let's go ahead and start with our first question of the day.
Oh, absolutely. And it is a beautiful day at that. And you know what happens on beautiful days? We see flowers. So this is a question about some flowers here.
Okay.
I don't know what to say about this. I grew up in the city and I just didn't and this just didn't happen there. I lived in a small town in Iowa for 20 years, and I know that some things are different in a small town, but I still feel pretty outraged by the nerve. A couple in their late 50s tried to get my attention by driving up my long driveway, walking around my house, and finally going onto my rear deck to ring the doorbell, only I wasn't home. They finally succeeded in getting my girlfriend, who lives half a mile down the road. They don't know her either, but the sister of the husband was her next door neighbor for years. So on the basis of this tenuous connection, they asked her to ask me if they could snip a pretty substantial amount of hydrangeas off my two big bushes for the wedding of their son in 1 week. I don't want people coming on my property and cutting my flowers off bushes. Who are they to think that they can have any rights to them? Why didn't they make other arrangements? Why am I being asked to do this? I didn't have the time to supervise. These bushes are old and delicate, and there are 20 other reasons why this doesn't sit well with me. Is there anything about small town behavior or expectations that would make it okay for people to be doing this? I'm only asking because my girlfriend, who is from the city too, thought maybe there's something we just don't know about living in a small town that might make this less outrageous to them than it feels to us.
Okay. This is an interesting one. And it's good that your girlfriend suggested this might be the case. And the reason why is because this is the case. It's a small town thing. Honey, listen, let me tell you something. In small towns, folks look out for each other. People share things. You know, there was a time in life where if you needed a cup of sugar, you could go to your neighbor's house and borrow a cup of sugar and return it. And so the folks, they're clearly a little older, so they come from a different era of time when people really looked out for one another. But then when you look at the fact that it's a small town, there are certain practices that are open, and you never know. Whomever lived in this house before might have shared the hydrangeas, which I just want to step aside and say that is my favorite flower. Okay. I want to say that hydrangeas, my favorite. Okay. So they may have, the previous owners may have also shared the hydrangeas with the neighborhood or what have you. So they thought this is okay. Now, here's the thing. They went up the long driveway to go ring your doorbell. Well, honey, that's how people can get to your door, is to ring they have to get up the driveway. And if your doorbell is in the back, that's what it sounds like. They went around to the back and they rang the doorbell. I don't hear you saying that they walked into your house, okay, and started rummaging through things. But they came, they rang the doorbell, and they asked for permission. I think that that is okay. So you say the nerve of them to even ask. Well, that's on you in terms of thinking the nerve of them to ask. I don't mean that you're wrong. You're just a little surprised at the behavior. And you're surprised at the behavior because it's a small town. And that's how folks behave when they are know each other for a long time and they're in that particular type of environment. So make a decision on what you're going to do. You're either going to share the flowers and hoard them and keep them to yourselves, or you're going to be a blessing to the folks in your neighborhood and be neighborly. I talked about this in one of my earlier episodes. So try to be a little bit more neighborly. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to the next question, Producer Kelly.
All right. Here we go. Here it is. The next question has to do with social events and how to interact when you are at the workspace.
Okay.
At a work social event, I went to speak to one of the few people I knew well, who was speaking with another person. She said, hello, and then continued her conversation. I would have said, hello, X, do you know why? We were just talking about mortgage rates or whatever. However, she just carried on talking. Both myself and the person I was talking to clearly felt awkward. This went on what felt like a long time. Should I have walked away? The longer it went on, the more strange it would have seemed to leave. This is a public place and a non-private conversation about a work topic. What should I have done?
You should have opened your mouth and engaged in the conversation, honey. Don't just stand there like a lump on a log and not talk. Here's the thing. Now, again, I have a new book coming out, and I do talk about this in my book, all right? And this is how to insert yourself or take part in a conversation that's already taking place in a work environment. You know, we go to places, we look around, we see the name tags on, and we want to go talk to someone, right? All right, so what you do when you get there, what you should have done is when you said hello, engage in the conversation. Listen to what is being said. She invited you in, or they invited you in when they said hello. That was a real big acknowledgement to say hello and acknowledge your presence. But but this person doesn't necessarily, in this particular instance, have to introduce you or either give you the background on the conversation because you're coming in late. So when they said hello, that was your welcoming moment to engage in the conversation. So you listen to what's being said. When they laugh, you laugh. If there's a question that's being asked, then you say, what time did they go? Or what did the such and such? Or what were the mortgage rates that you found out? Or whatever it is. So engage in the conversation. Don't sit there like a lump on a log so that somebody has to draw you in. I know it can be a little bit challenging because guess what? Folks may not know this. Well, the people who know me know this, but I am really more of an introvert. I don't really navigate social situations well, but I know how to, and I know how to follow the steps, and I know how to follow my own advice. Okay. That's how I got into this business. That's a whole other story. But the bottom line, it's not easy to navigate networking situations. And so what you want to do is just practice talking to people you don't know, practice entering into conversations, practice exiting conversations. That's another story. But the person was not wrong. They invited you when they said hello. They had you at hello. They had you at hello. So the hello was a welcome. And so that's where you just talk. And then for you to say that the other person felt awkward, how do you know that, right? You know, sometimes we want to try to take other people and drag them along and say they felt the same way too, but that person likely did not. It was probably you, and that's okay. All right. So I want you to know the next time something like this happens, you are free to just continue to engage in the conversation, and that hello was your welcome. All right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and hear our last question of the day for Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann. We're back, Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann. This is our final question of the day. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. These were good questions today. And I'm glad, again, that you trust me enough to be able to send these questions to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. What have we got, Producer Kelly?
Thing about the couple, they went on a trip and then they canceled and they want to know if it's okay for them to take the trip again.
All right. So the other couple canceled and you want to know whether or not it's okay for you to go on the trip. The answer is go on that trip. Yes, it's totally fine. It is a couple's trip. If they figure out in terms of the financial part, what you would have to take care of or still pay for or what have you, right? So this is where the dicey part is not necessarily whether or not you should still go. Instead, it's more so about who takes care of the financial, who does what part. So the people who canceled, if there's something that they obligated themselves to do, their half, their portion, what have you, when you do cancel, as far as a couple's trip is concerned, you should still pay your part. So that this way, if the people cannot get it, if you've passed that time frame and you can't get out of it, then it is a very kind gesture, whether it was planned or an emergency. If people cannot get out of it and your stuff is locked in, it is a nice gesture to still pay for your portion. All right. So there you have that. Now, for the people who want to go, look, pack your bags, get yourself together and still go on the couple's trip and enjoy. There's just so many different things that we can do as far as couples are concerned to fortify our relationships and to help enhance our relationship with our partner, our loved one, or what have you. And so going on that couple's trip is a good thing. Don't let what some people, them canceling, cancel out your plans as well. Okay, make sure that you still enjoy your time together with your loved one. Don't let their thing cancel yours out, okay? Well, you know what? I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today on Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann. I love answering your questions. I want to say thank you so much for sending your questions in. If you want me to answer your questions, I want you to do this. Send an email to questions@elaineswann.com, or you can send a voice note to questions@elaineswann.com, and we can play your question on air if you give me permission. And I also invite you to visit my website, elaineswann.com, for free etiquette tips on it and advice. And of course, follow me on social media. I'm Elaine Swann on every social media platform. And please subscribe to this podcast. You can subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Music, or any other place where you get your podcast. That's it for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Modern Etiquette with Elaine Swann is brought to you by Imagine Podcasting. It's sponsored by investor and strategic business consultant Dr. John Sanders. Our producer is Kelly Davis. Our chief audio engineer and editor is Chris Swann. Our intern is Will Harrison. Our theme song is Up and Coming, written and composed by Chris Swann.